Welcome back. Today, as part of my ongoing chess development, I'm going to analyze my last few rapid games on Lichess. I'm hoping that it won't be too difficult today because I won most of these games. But if my own history of playing chess tells me anything, I'm going to assume I didn't play them perfectly. There are probably mistakes and blunders. There might have even been a place where I hung a mate in one and my opponent didn't see it. If you're new here, I'm not a titled player or a chess coach, anything like that. I'm not even a professional YouTuber. I'm just a person trying to get better at chess. And hopefully if you follow along, you can get something out of this too, or you might notice something that I missed and you can help me out. Anyway, let's switch over here to this first game that I have pulled up. I have just run the game review here. It said I had 3 blunders and 3 mistakes. And I think here let's just focus on the blunders because at each point of the blunder, like for example, this first one, my opponent had just blundered and gave me something and I missed it. Then later I had an advantage, but I blundered and it went back up almost to even. And then my last blunder I was ahead. And so I must have missed something here. Oh, I missed a mate in 3. Okay. So each one of these blunders, we should be able to learn something. I'm going to skip ahead to the point of my next blunder. After I had just made a mistake here and given my opponent a slight advantage, they blundered by playing that and I didn't take advantage of it. Should I have just taken? Yes. I try to turn this off, but the problem is that the line shows up here right there in the move list, so it's hard not to see that. I can get rid of it up there. Oh, you know what? It's not only here in the move list, it's also down here at the bottom. It shows what I did play and what I should have played. If you've watched my analysis videos before, you know that this has been a constant source of frustration to me. I really like the ability to turn off the lines at the top with just, that one toggle. But here on Lichess, you can't help but see this stuff here in the move list. And now I just realized it's down at the bottom too. So I'll try not to look at the move list. But yeah, here, at least I noticed it before I saw it over there. I should have just taken the pawn, but instead I pushed forward. I think the problem with pushing forward is that they can take here. Is that the problem? Well, backing up to what I should have done, if I had taken here and they had taken, I guess I could have taken their rook, but then they could have taken with check, and I would have had to get out of check by capturing here, and then they would have taken my rook. I will say that at this point, I thought I was lost. I thought I had made some huge error by letting them get these pawns this far down here. They have a rook behind one. They have a queen, pointed in here, and I didn't have much. Didn't even really have this here with my bishop because their queen's right there. But let's just see. If I had taken this, they actually have several moves that maintain about the same, but if they take this, I have to take that rook, right? Not necessarily. Taking the rook would be fine. Oh, and I take the rook. If they take back, then their queen's not guarding that spot anymore. Okay, so if I take here, but see, I thought that they would throw in this pawn check first. It says their best move is to take my rook, but what if they throw in the pawn check first, and then I take here, and then they take my rook, and then I take this pawn, and I'm up -3. Now here, they only have a couple of choices, up or over, 3 different choices. But going king to d2 leads to a mate very quickly because I'll check right there with my queen on e3, and then they have to go back, and then I'll checkmate down there on e1. Okay, well that's a long string of things that didn't happen, but I think I understand how I could have gotten out of this had I just taken, because that pawn, I mean, it's not pinned, but I kind of ruined their attack. Okay, I think I understand that. Let's go on to the point of my next blunder, which was here. Again, I am up -4, but I'm going to turn off the engine so I don't see that. And I can't look at the move list to see what I did play here. What did I play here? Honestly, I have no idea what I played here. I assumed they were about to check. Well, I have to look at the move list to see what I did play. I played queen to a5. Okay, I didn't see what I should have played. I played queen to a5. I assumed the idea was lining up here. The problem with that is that they can check and the knight is undefended. I think that's the problem with that. Okay, so what should I have played? I don't know. Should I have just taken this? I'm up 1 pawn right now, so we're even on material except I'm up 1 pawn, but my king, I think, is a little less safe than theirs. One difference between their king and mine is that my rooks are connected, but I think only temporarily. Yeah, if it's not taking that knight, I really don't know what I should have played. It's not taking the knight. Rook h to f8. Oh, okay. That way I can hide my king and leave my rooks connected. Okay. Oh, and it also points a rook down here at their f pawn, and my queen is kind of pointed there too. So I think I should have been able to find that. It says e5 is also fine, which gets it out of the path of this bishop and helps protect the knight. Rook a to f8, or taking, okay, taking here wouldn't have been bad. That's what I said. I assumed they would take back, and then what would I play? Oh, and then I would still have to find, bringing one of the rooks over here, or one of the rooks to e8. All right, but queen to a5 allowed the check, right? Yeah, queen to f4 check. Did they find it? They did. And since they're going to get the knight for free anyway, it makes sense to block with the knight. Okay, I did that. They took, and I wasn't supposed to take back. Wait, why was that counted as a mistake? It's really close to being my best move. But I should have taken the knight first. Oh, because the knight's free, and it's threatening the rook. Let's go to where it says my next blunder was. Okay, here's where I missed the mate in 3. After I played this, I still have a big advantage here because I have an extra piece. But as you can see, my king has been chased all the way over the, around the board over here. But my opponent messed up by playing rook to e1, and that gives me a mate in 3, but only if I check now. I was going to try to find it myself, but I left the lines on and I saw it. So if I check now, it says they would block with the pawn, but then I would just take it. What if they didn't block with the pawn? What are their other moves? Oh, they can't move the king because of the bishop. That's what I didn't see. I may or may not have seen this check because it's a fork on the pawn, but I think what I didn't see is that the bishop's cutting off those. But I must have seen it. Why else would I have just put the bishop there, right? That's what I just played. Their king got out of check this way. I must have been worried about it getting away to one of these squares, and so I went here to prevent it. So somehow, yeah, I missed the fact that the bishop was cutting that off, and that this means the king can't move. They have to block with the pawn, which I will take, or they have to block with the rook, which I would just take, and that's checkmate. I wonder if I would have seen this in a puzzle. Obviously, in a puzzle, you don't have the engine running, you don't have the move list here, and you don't have the blunder symbol, but you can assume that the opponent's last move was a blunder. And in puzzles, I would look for checks first, and one check is here. The only other check that I can think of is this one. So in the game, I was at 355. How much time did I spend on my blunder here? 3 seconds. Okay. Yeah, I should have spent a little longer than 3 seconds. Out of my 2 possible checks, I played the wrong one. I think my idea there was that, they would take and then I would have a check and then I would be able to chase their king around. But yeah, I should have definitely seen this check here and noticed that the bishop was cutting that off. Okay, got it. That was on move 35 when I messed up here, and this game went all the way to move 70. So 35 more moves when I had a mate in 3. But because I didn't play it, I chased the king around. I picked up a couple of extra pawns, but they got one of my pawns since I had moved the bishop earlier. I traded queens, so at that point there wasn't too much to do other than get rid of their pawns, and then there's nothing they can do to stop that one from getting down. And then, I just checkmated them with the queen and the king after I trapped them on the back rank there. So that's how that turned out. All right, in this game, the game review says I only had one mistake, and it was after I was well ahead. In this one, I played a Caro-Kann defense again, and we had a very, weird opening here because I don't know that I've ever seen it exactly like this before, where they've got this knight just sitting down in here. But already I'm up -4. So my only mistake here was e6, and that was after they blundered. It was a mistake to play e6. So what should I have played? I have the lines turned off. I didn't see it. Should I have just gone ahead and gotten the bishop out? Okay, getting the bishop out would have kept my lead, but h6. h6 is my best move here. Well, I'll tell you why I didn't play h6. That's because in a Caro-Kann defense just a week or 2 ago, they had a knight sitting down here, and I played h6, and that was the blunder that lost me the game. And so I very specifically remembered that, and I thought about playing h6 because where's the knight going to go, right? It had to go back there? No, it says they would take this pawn. Well, that's what happened in that game where moving h6 was, the blunder that lost me the game. So that's why I didn't play it. How bad was e6? It took us down to -2. Okay. It was one of my top 5 moves. It just wasn't the best one. Well, I don't remember the exact position in the other game, so I don't remember exactly why that was a blunder then, and it's my best move now. I played it then because I thought it was my best move. So there must have been something different about the position in that game that doesn't apply here. And unlike some grandmasters, I don't have a catalog of all the games I've ever played in my head, so I can't say, oh, the difference was that in that game, they had their other knight out and their bishop was on f3 or something. I don't know. I just remember that knight was there and I challenged it with h6. But I will just click through this one because I didn't make any more mistakes, so I'm pretty proud of that. And if I remember right, this one ended pretty quickly. I got their rook. That was kind of nice. You don't get to do that very often at my rating level. And here I'm up 7 points of material on move 13. In fact, I almost got the impression that my opponent was trying to give this game away, but they lost so many points from it that I'm guessing they were relatively new to the site. They lost 21 points for this game. I did check their profile. They just joined late last year, so they are relatively new to chess, I'm guessing. And it looks like right after they lost this game, they went ahead and lost 2 more that same night and then haven't played chess since. So maybe they weren't trying to lose. It just felt like that during the game because they had just given away pieces and pawns. But anyway, I offered the queen trade and they didn't take it, so I got another pawn. Looked like they were threatening mate here. It says I could have played f5. Well, I finally played h6, which kept their queen from seeing, that square down there. And I had to maneuver just a little bit, but then my opponent made a mistake right here. The mistake that they made was not noticing what this pawn move did. If you'll notice that here, they had just moved this knight, which I thought they moved it there to protect the rook, but they didn't. They put their knight on f3 to aim at my e-pawn. So what this pawn move did, it wasn't just going down there to get a queen, which is what a lot of people at my level seem to do. It was getting out of the way of this, so now their knight is stuck defending that. So I don't know what their best move is here. It might be moving the king over to protect the rook. I'm just not sure. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't taking that pawn because that allowed mate in 1. So I was pretty happy that, I saw that and unhappy that my opponent was probably unhappy with that. Let's see, backing up 1, what should they have done? d4 is their best move? Or just moving their rook up or over? Well, those both would have been fine, huh? Or give their king, an escape square here with h4. In this game, I had another opponent that lost a bunch of points on this game, so they might have also been new to this one. But here, it does say I had 6 mistakes and 1 blunder, but my blunder was really early, and my mistakes were kind of spread throughout there. It looks like only the ones right here are the ones that gave my opponent an advantage, and then my mistake right here, but anyway, it brought it back to even when I had an advantage. Okay, well, I'm going to look at the opening here and see I blundered on move 8. Okay, that's a little earlier than I have been doing. Again, we got a Caro-Kann defense and saw a very familiar pattern. I put the bishop on g4. What should I have done? Should I have gotten this knight out? I thought what I was supposed to do here was pin this knight here. And then if they castle out of that, then I can take. I'm going to guess it was getting one of the knights out. It was definitely getting this knight out. Okay, not the other one. Knight to c6. All right, I guessed correctly, but I don't know why that's so much better than this. Oh, well, the reason is because of checking. Okay, and then when I block with the knight, they can just take my knight, and if I take back, they get my bishop. Okay, that's why, because of where this knight is protecting that square or attacking that square. That makes total sense. I understand that. Let's go to the place where I gave the advantage back to my opponent because they didn't do that right, and we traded here a couple times. Oh, that was inaccurate. Well, we're still pretty close to even, and I'm watching the line down at the bottom of the screen. I kept trying to trade queens with him, but also several times, I had to put my queen there because of what they were attacking. They're attacking this, and I can't move the rook over because they'll take it, so I thought the only way to protect that pawn was to bring my queen in. They ran away with it. I was finally able to develop, hoping to castle, chase their queen a little further, but they went there instead, so I blocked. They ran away again, and I finally castled. Okay, here I put my knight in the middle because I figured they were about to come in here, come forward and attack my knight, and I didn't want to mess up my pawn structure. So they played that. But anyway, here I played queen to e7. Well, the reason I did that was, to go over there with it. But I guess that wasn't a good idea. That's what I remember planning that, because I saw the check. But I think that doesn't make sense because they could have just blocked that check with the bishop. What should I have played here? Should I have played f5 or rook to c8? I'm going to guess it was one of those two. a5 is actually my best move, but rook f to c8 is just as good. Not the a rook to c8. A rook is not quite as good for some reason. The f rook moving over is better. Or b5 or queen to c6. Oh, I wonder how bad f5 would have been. Oh, not that bad. It just would have been about even, unless they took it. And if they took it, then we'd be doing all right, and it wouldn't matter whether I took back with my rook or my pawn. I probably would have taken back with my pawn, and then, okay, but backing up, what was so bad about queen to e7? Oh, bishop to b4. That's pretty bad, because that skewers my queen and my rook. Okay, my opponent didn't see it, so we were okay. that was a mistake to check? Okay. Okay, so this is a second mistake in a row that gave my opponent an advantage. I should have just brought the knight back. Oh, and that also would have blocked the, bishop to b4. Okay, I get that. But queen to g5 was my second best move, so it didn't give them much of an advantage. And all they had to do was move their king over, which they did. And then I can bring my knight back, and I did. But they played f4, which is a blunder. And I think I just took it, didn't I? Yeah, okay. But we're not done yet, because apparently somewhere here a little bit later, I gave them the game back. So I had a very slight advantage that I kept working on here. I got it up to -2. Almost -3 here. We took, traded, so now it's just rooks and pawns and kings. That was a mistake, but I still have an advantage, and I thought we were doing okay here. I still have an advantage, and I think that's because I'm up 1 pawn. But my next move brought the game back to even, and it was because I played here. Well, I thought if they took, then I would take, and I'd be protecting that pawn, and I'd have 2 passed pawns in the middle. That's what I thought. And if they didn't take, well, I could just move up, but maybe moving up was my best move. I left the lines on, didn't I? No, rook to c4 was my best move. Oh, 4's over there. Rook to c4, which, aims at that pawn. But then they would have taken this one with check, protecting that pawn. And what would I have done? Gone here? Wait, what? Oh no, because that rook wouldn't be protected. Okay. So if I had played my best move, their best move by far would be to take this pawn. Only move that doesn't result in an immediate mate is going here, so now they need to run away with this. Okay, they have 2 moves that aren't blunders. One is to check me, going back to where they were, and the other is to push this pawn, threatening my rook. And then in which case I would take theirs, and I assume they would take mine. Okay, but what if they checked me? Then I would just have to go back, wouldn't I? I only have 2 legal moves. Now what do? Now they come after my rook and I take this pawn? Or do they drop back to protect the pawn? Oh no, it says they maybe protect the pawn over here. But their best move is to let me have the pawn by playing rook to f1. Okay, well, I don't understand that. But this turned out to be bad. Not really bad, it just brought us back to even. The problem is they shouldn't take. See, I thought they would take, right? I thought they would take. And then again, I have 2 passed pawns, connected passed pawns, and I could take that with either my rook or my king. I was going to take it with my king to protect that pawn. But they should have just doubled their rooks over here. But they took, which gave the advantage back to me. And it looks like I gave it back here in just a little bit. Right there on move 36. Okay. So, I wasn't supposed to take it. What? I was just supposed to move up here? I think I understand. Yeah, I think the problem with taking is that it allows me to check, right? I mean, allows them to check. Or here even. Okay. Yeah, that's the problem with checking with taking the pawn is it allows them to check here, which they did. So I have to run away. Now they have 2 rooks on that pawn, so I have to defend, right? Looks like it would have been better to defend in front of the pawn here with this rook, but instead I defended from behind or from the other side. And they made a mistake by coming in there. Is it because I can check? That's one of my good moves. Okay, so they have to run away. And then what do? Oh, I should have brought it back. What I almost played was rook to g1, which was here, aiming for this pawn, because I didn't think they could protect it. But instead, I just brought it up here, aiming for this pawn. And I thought if they protected it somehow by bringing their king out or something like that, I could just slide over here and aim for their g-pawn. And it does look like they should just play this one forward, and then I would go to g2 and we'd be about even. But instead, they checked me, which is a blunder because it allows this. And I was ahead for the rest of the game because I was able to double my rooks. And there wasn't much that they could do here as I, cleaned up and got a passed pawn. It says it was a mistake for me to take that, but I've got an extra pawn, so I thought I was doing pretty good. Also, their rook is down there kind of trapped and can't do much. So what's their rook supposed to do? Go there? This wasn't easy, I'll say that. This was a difficult endgame for me to win. I had to be really careful, and I was willing to sacrifice my rook here, and I did. And now where's their rook going to go? It ran over there, which allowed me to advance the pawn, which allowed me to advance my king and the other pawn. And they didn't want to trade for the rook, so that allowed me to get a queen. And yeah, I don't know what that last move was about. They probably should have not put their rook right there, but they did. And it took me 3 seconds to figure out that I could take it. I was pretty happy with that end game. I know I made a couple of mistakes and inaccuracies through it, but we took care of business. And I think I understand the mistakes, at least most of them. Well, I certainly understand why the moves that the engine suggested were better than what I played. I have 2 more games to go through. I know this video is long, but I'm trying to, learn all that I can and squeeze all this into one day. This game went to 80 moves and ended in a draw by repetition because our pawns are locked up and we just shuffled our kings here. But it does look like I had a lead at a couple of places. I'm just going to go to right here and see what I should have played. Should I have just taken it, or is that what I did? No, that's what I did. Should I have just moved out of check? I don't know. I should have just moved out of check to e7. Even f8 would have been okay. I don't know why. Why was taking bad? Is it because they can take back? Well, that just brought us back to even. Didn't give my opponent an advantage, but apparently I would have still had an advantage had I just come forward, and they would have taken this bishop with their knight, which would have allowed me to take back, and then I would have been doing okay, I guess. Well, I didn't know I was ahead here. Once again, I thought I was behind because I haven't had a chance to castle. My opponent's already castled and all their pieces are out. I haven't castled. I still have a piece that hasn't developed. And they have a knight in here behind my pawns checking me. So yeah, I thought I was, thought I was behind already. All right, apparently I had another advantage here, but I gave it away on my next move, turn off the engine before I see the lines. Was it bad to move my knight out of danger? Because that's pretty sure what I did. Yeah, I played knight to g5. Well, that was bad. Okay. Should I have played knight to g3 or knight to c5, which blocks their bishop from pointing through here, and it would be protected by the pawn? I'm guessing it was one of those two, because surely my best move was not to leave the knight there to be captured. Knight to g3 was best. Knight to d6 is second best. Those are the only two. Okay, so these two. Knight to c5 would have been as bad as what I played. Okay, now I do get why knight to g5 isn't great, because they can come after it with either one of those pawns. Probably the outside one, because that one's protected, right? This would be targeting that one, so it makes sense to move it forward, which is what they did, even though that's not what the engine expects. But anyway, so yeah, okay, I see this. It's a little better. Threatens the rook. They would probably move the rook over. No, it says they'd move the rook the other way. Well, I'm not, again, not playing a grandmaster. I'm playing these people at my rating, so I assume they would come here and then I would have to come back to f5. Okay, well, that took us back to almost even, but my opponent, when they came after it, here's where I messed up again. No, here's not where I messed up. Here's where I played my best move, getting my knight out of danger for good, as far as I can tell. My opponent's next move was taking control of the G file, and I left the lines on, but I'm not looking. I don't remember what I played here. I have to look because I don't remember what I played, but what should I have played? I don't know. Should I have taken control of an open file myself? Should I have played h4? I don't know. I should have played e5. Wait, that's e5, right? But then they would take this, and it says that's fine, because I would just go up here behind this pawn, and then they'd have to move their rook again, and they would come back with it. Okay, so yeah, my best move is just to give them this pawn. Well, I never would have found that, and I probably won't find it next time. My second best move, which would have kept me with a slight advantage, is king to c6. Rook to c7 would have been okay. King to d8 would have been okay. Rook to b7 would have been fine. But instead, I put that rook down there, and that's a huge blunder because they can play rook to g7. Well, that's why I put it down here, because I thought they were going to play rook to g7, and I wanted to be able to defend the knight, with the connected rooks. Oh, but their bishop's guarding that square. Okay. But I didn't see their bishop guarding that square, and I went ahead and put my rook there anyway. So now my opponent has an advantage because they're up a piece. All right. Wait, did I win this game? Oh, no, this is the one that I didn't win because we drew by repetition, but apparently I had chances. Let's just go here. I had a big chance here and missed it. If only I'd played king to b7. It's my only move. But instead I took a pawn. Oh, because the rook is trapped. Their rook is trapped. Oh, my. That's so obvious now. Yeah, their rook is trapped. Okay, well, I get that one then. But I took a free pawn, and their rook is still trapped, but it has to run away, which it did, to their credit. Okay, well, I had another big advantage. What was my biggest one that I gave away? It says I was up -8 over here, -7.7 in this position. Okay, I didn't see what I should have played. Let's see, I'm playing with the black pieces. What should I have played? Should I have just queened? No, because they would have taken it. What I did was play d3. That's because I thought they might try to take with their king, and that would allow me to promote. But it didn't allow for the fact that they could just take with the pawn. So what should I have played? I don't know. King to h3. Nope, it changed its mind a few times. But king to h3 or king to h2 are my best moves. But the game review said I should have played knight to h2. Okay, that would have guarded that square, but then they just would have checked me. Okay, but instead I played that, and they should have taken with the pawn, and they did. Now we're dead even. But if I play knight to h2, well, I did play knight to h2. The best move is to check me because we're drawn now. So, and apparently we were drawn for the rest of the game, and both of us played perfectly and did not give up this draw. So, good for us. I thought maybe I could get some of those pawns, and I did, but then here we had a repetition. So, all right. So yeah, right there, I had lots of moves that would have been fine, but not that one. I'm just curious, if I had played what the game review had said, wouldn't they have checked me? Yes. Okay. And then what would I have done? King to h1 or king to h? It says I have mate in 20 if I play king to h1. Okay, now what do they play? Rook to f7 comes after the pawn again. Oh, but it says now I can promote it. Okay, I can promote to a queen. I'm still ahead if I just promote it to a rook, and I'm still ahead if I just promote it to a bishop. That's what it says down there. The fifth move if I promote to a bishop. Well, let me try that. I'm still way ahead. They're not going to take it. They're just going to get out of check. And I'm going to come over here with it to h3, possibly. Well, they're going to come after my pawn, right? And I'm still way ahead. That's what it says. King to g1 or king to g2, bishop to g4. Well, let's say I played here. They're going to take this, right? No. Okay, well, they probably would. That's why they moved over there. But now if I play, you know what? I don't have time to follow this all the way out, but I don't see how I'm ahead here. I know I have extra pawns, but it looks like they're going to be able to, you know, just check me and then promote this pawn. But it's my turn, so I would check them. Let's say they just got out of check. Now what do? Bishop to g4, okay. Aren't they going to put, no, they're not, because I would take it. Okay, so they come here then? Rook to d5 is their best move. I said I wasn't going to go all the way through this because that's not what happened, but you know what? Yeah, let's go back here. If I had played this or that, I think it still would have ended in a draw. That's my 2 cents here. And this game from last night, again, I had the black pieces. This time I was ahead the entire time, but a few times I gave away my advantage. Okay, let's just go here. I had the black pieces. What should I have played? Should I have just taken this pawn? No, that's what I did play, and that was the mistake that gave away a bunch of my advantage. Okay, what about h3? Sorry, h6 to chase away their rook. Let's just check. h6 is among my best moves. Wait, I'm up -5. h6, I could have also played rook to d8, or rook to c8, or rook to b8, or rook to f8. Why not e8? What's wrong with the e? As long as I move this rook back here from a8 to one of those other squares, or challenge their rook with this pawn, I'm up big time. But playing this is bad because it allows their knight out. Okay, yeah, I wondered about that. Right now I'm pinning their knight, so they have 2 useless pieces. But it was the next move that actually gave away my advantage. After my opponent got the knight out, I still had an advantage if I play rook to e8, or bishop to h5, or rook to d8, or rook to b8, or h6 again, but instead I checked. The problem with that is that it allows their king to go here, and my best move is to trade the rooks in the corner. But instead I decided to trade rooks here, and we're even. Okay. But after we traded rooks, my opponent blundered by doing that, and I should have taken it. I thought if I took it, they would take. It says they wouldn't, though, but they would. Yeah, of course they would. Wait, where is it? Yeah, any opponent I've played would have taken that. And then I would have taken here and had a huge advantage, -3. But again, I have to move this rook over to one of these places that's not where it is, or play h5. Okay, well, one of the problems I was having was this pawn here on f7 that was preventing my king from getting out. So that's why, that's one reason that I thought to trade rooks over here. And in fact, I almost took that rook with this pawn just to give me a way out. But I thought, you know, I could get a way out here. So when they threatened me with that pawn, I pushed past because that forces their knight to move, which it did. And then I played rook to e8 to get behind the pawn. But that doesn't make any sense, does it? This was a really complicated endgame. As you can see, we got into this endgame with each of us having 6.5 minutes left. But for the rest of it, I mean, we each took our time. Like, it was a mistake for me to take that pawn. I don't know why. It was a mistake for me to protect that pawn. I don't know why. So we're nearly even here. And I didn't know if I could win or not, but I knew that my pawn down there was one of my advantages, my h pawn. That's inaccurate. I don't know why. They were about to take it. I had to move it someplace. That's a mistake, which gives me a slight advantage again. Only, you know, I'm pushing that h-pawn. It was a mistake for them to go after the h-pawn. I don't know why. Oh, I have 2 moves here. King to e5 or, whoops, king to e5 or king to e7. Well, I found the best one. It looks like the idea was to come in here to keep their pawn from coming forward. They're supposed to play a4. I'm surprised by that because that would give me an outside passed pawn over here. But they didn't play a4. They blundered, and apparently I was ahead the rest of the game here. But it was difficult, I will say that, because I had to, you know, I had to take a lot of care. And, well, that was a mistake. What were they supposed to do with it? Oh, they were supposed to play a4. They were supposed to play a4, and I wouldn't take the knight. All right. Well, they knew I was going to take the knight, so they moved it. Okay. And that was a mistake. Wait, how was that a mistake? I have a mate in 10, and I have a mate in 10 after I played that. So no, it wasn't a mistake. If it's my second best move and it goes from mate in 10 to mate in 10, yeah, right, Stockfish. Yeah, that was my second best move. I still have a mate in 10. And again, had to be very, very careful. That was a mistake. Now I have a mate in 6. If I play h3, I did, and I was able to just march this pawn down there and checkmate with the pawn, you know, so very nice. I guess it doesn't count as checkmate with the pawn, but it was a pawn just a second ago. Obviously, there were too many mistakes in most of these games for me to focus on each of them, but the ones where I did focus on, I think I did kind of picture why certain things would have been better. But again, because of time pressure, I didn't have time to focus on all of them. So if you spotted something that I missed, please let me know. Maybe I'll notice it during editing, maybe not. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.